911 dispatchers hear a lot of strange things. Screams in the background, static, calls from children who say they're alone. But in 2011, in a quiet suburb of rural Ohio, a 911 call came in from a house with no one inside. No voice, just breathing. The strangest part? The house hadn't had electricity or a phone line for almost a decade. At 1:32 a.m. on a Wednesday, a 911 operator in Lucas County, Ohio, picked up what she thought was a butt dial. The call lasted 17 seconds. There was no voice, no words, just faint static and what sounded like someone breathing. Not distressed, not panting, just calm, steady breathing. She traced the number, a landline. The call was coming from 4268 Cypress Lane, a house on the edge of an overgrown neighborhood tucked behind thick woods. The address pinged as vacant, but protocol said they had to send someone out. Officer Daniel Whitmore responded. He'd been on the force for nearly 20 years, calm, logical, never one to scare easily. When he pulled onto Cypress Lane, the road was cracked and littered with pine needles. 4268 sat at the very end. The porch sagged, paint peeled off in sheets. The windows were boarded up. The grass came to his knees. The power meter had been removed. There was no phone line running to the house. Still, Officer Whitmore knocked. No answer. He walked around the back, flashlight scanning the windows. Then, from the rear of the house, he saw it. A faint orange light glowing behind one of the upstairs windows. The back door was unlocked. Inside, the house smelled like mold and dust. Old carpet, water damage. He called out, "Police! If someone's in here, I need you to make yourself known." Nothing. The glow upstairs was dimmer now, flickering. He crept up the stairs, each step groaning beneath him. At the top, there was only one door open. The light was coming from a landline phone, still plugged into the wall. It was off the hook. The glow came from the receiver's old-school orange backlight, still faintly lit, despite the house being disconnected for years. He picked it up. There was a dial tone. He checked the base. The phone wasn't plugged into a working outlet. In fact, the cord had been cut and was just hanging from the drywall. At that moment, Officer Whitmore heard something behind him. A single floorboard creaked from the hall. He turned fast. Nothing. Then, the sound of breathing. Not from behind, not from downstairs. It was coming from the phone. He held it up again, listening closer. Steady, shallow breath. Then, a voice. Just one word. Whispered so faintly he wasn't sure he heard it right. Downstairs. If you're hooked so far, hit subscribe, because the next story might be even darker than this one. Now, back to the case. He backed out of the room and radioed for backup. None nearby. He was alone. He moved to the basement door, opened it, and descended slowly. The air grew colder with every step. His flashlight caught something hanging from the far wall, an old rotary phone coated in dust. The wires were ripped out of the wall, completely dead. Suddenly, his radio clicked on. "Dispatch to Unit 3. We just received another call. From that house." He froze. He was already inside. The line crackled again. "Caller said one word," dispatch added. Whitmore asked, "What word?" The answer came after a pause. They said, "You're here." Officer Whitmore searched the house for nearly an hour. No one ever turned up. No intruders, no footprints. The house was officially logged as vacant and uninhabited. Phone company records showed the landline had been disconnected in 2004. There was no trace of outgoing or incoming calls. Yet 3 911 calls were placed from that house, all in the same night. Each time, breathing. Then, a single word. No one ever found out who or what was behind those calls. But to this day, local officers refuse to go alone to 4268 Cypress Lane, because sometimes the scariest calls come from places where no one is supposed to be.
Thanks for watching Short Crime Stories. New crimes drop weekly. Subscribe to never miss a case.